Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in today and welcome to our fairy festival. I do hope you're going to enjoy today and the rest of the days of our little extravaganza, and it will be. We've got so many fabulous tutorials, demonstrations, fun quizzes, lots of things for you to join in with. So I hope you can plump up your cushions, get yourself comfortable, get that kettle on. You know me. We need a brew and a cheeky biscuit, and then we can have some fun. Now, have you seen the new stamps we've got? I have to say, I know you must think we say this all the time, we love the new stamps, but the thing is, we do. I really don't know how Tracy keeps coming up with these designs, and as soon as we get them, honestly, it's so hard for us not to be able to mention anything when we're working with these new products because we just love them. So I've come up with this little number to share with you today. Now I say little number, I'm actually going to be working on an A5 piece of card. So obviously, as you can see, it almost fills my screen. But I just wanted to really show what these stamps can do. Look at the detail. So this new floral one is called, let me get it right, Twilight Lily. And we've got these two new beautiful. Now, I think the bumblebees, but, who knows? Well, they're called Bumble and Hum, so I think there's a clue there. So I think the bumblebees, but they are just beautiful. And the actual detail, I'm going to be decoupaging these, but can you see if I bring it close, the actual hairs, when I stamp it first here, the detail on them is just amazing. And there are so many things you can do with these. Honestly, once we got them, we were just coming up with design after design after design. And what's lovely, they will mix and match with what you've already got. I've used one of our older sentiments, let your spirit take flight, because for me, they are little spirits, these bumblebees, and they're flying. I don't know about you, but I've got some little they're called little like drinks containers for bees and bumblebees in my garden, and they're yellow, so they attract them, and they're tiny little. You pop them in your planters and you put water in them, just a little, and apparently when they're collecting the pollen they get really thirsty, and because all the pollen makes them thirsty, and a lot of the time when they die it's because they've got nowhere to get water from. So I found these gorgeous little containers for almost like little ponds for them, little watering holes, and I've got 5 of them in my tubs around the garden. So look out for those. We've got to look after our wildlife, haven't we? Anyway, let's get on with the design. Sorry, you know me, I do get a bit carried away. Right, so we'll pop this up here. Now, as you know, my craft table seems to be getting smaller and smaller. So, multifarious A5 card. I don't know about you, but every time I try to tidy up, I try to give myself more space. That's a joke, isn't it? As soon as I start crafting, it just gets smaller again. Right, get my copy of paper. And I'm going to start just with the black, the Nocturne, the VersaFine Clarita stamp. And we'll come in with this beautiful, as I say, Twilight Lily. And I'm just going to turn my design on the side. I wanted a lot of depth at one side. At the minute, you know me, I'm really into having it sort of a design that's got a lot of depth. Look at the colour here at this edge, but then coming away to white space here. And I know it's quite, well, it's a bit of an act. We'll see if I can keep my white space here. You know what happens as soon as we want white space. How many of you, like me, have dropped your ink pad at the end, or that black mark that comes from nowhere? I'm sure there's a little fairy somewhere. In fact, maybe we need to have one, Tracy, that's got a little pen and she comes and she just pops a little black mark where you don't want it. So black ink, look at that. And I'm going to put just one sort of middle-ish coming in here. And I love almost the tattiness of these petals. If I just show you that. Now, you know my camera work's not that good. If I hold it still, can you see Look at that. Now, I'm thinking, obviously for me, I've got my floral coming in this way. But look at that, you could have it hanging down. I mean, that just beautiful. Obviously, growing up. So this is going to be so useful. So we'll just stamp 2 more and just pop them at a bit of an angle. So we'll have a lower one come in here, I think. And it's worth just taking your time, just deciding. And again, if you're not sure, I didn't want them to overlap too much, you see. Remember, you've always got your acetate to use. And then this one, I don't want it symmetrical, you know, and look too much the same. So maybe we'll just have a bit less here. There, I think that's a nice shape. Lovely. So I'm going for that shape. Now, as always with my stamps, I've just got a damp cloth here. So for me, I just give them a wipe with a damp cloth, and then I'm just drying with this is just a cotton napkin. Just for me, that's how I like to look after them. But again, that's just me. Now let's stamp our lovely Bumble and Hum. So, and the idea with these is what I thought is they're coming in for the nectar. So I'm thinking let's have one just sort of heading in towards these flowers over here. And as I say, if I can just, if you bear with me, if I can just bring that a little bit closer, look at that detail. Honestly, it's just stunning. Now I want 3, so I'm going to have 2 of the smaller one. So we'll pop this one just here in this little, maybe just in a little bit more. I don't want it directly under. I want it to look a bit natural. And then let's have, now he's a little bit larger, he's a bit chunkier. So I'm thinking let's go for, we've got lots of pollen here, so I'm heading off. And then I'll come in with the sentiments. And again, as I say, let your spirit take flight. Now, again, use your acetate. But because I'm going to put some stencil work, I think the little space here will be lovely for that. So, you know me, because I'm not a confident stamper, and that's why I've got my copy paper, for me that really helps. But I just personally like to get my stamping done first, just because, as I say, I'm not a confident stamper, and I feel once I've got it done out of the way, I can relax a little bit more. That's lovely. And I'm not good with sentiments either, so I do keep all my little strips of card, just in case I need to decoupage that, but we're okay today. Right, so I'm going to get a clean, if I've got a clean-ish piece of copy paper, and I'm just going to blot that, because my VersaFine Clair is a slower drying ink. I don't want to smudge it. Now what I'm going to do next is add a little bit of stencil work. And I'm going to come in with this, the leaf trails. I just want it to be nicely in the background, but I don't want it to take it away from our lovely stamping. So I'm going to come in with Blue Atoll. And again, for me, I'm just going to turn my work this way. And I'm going to come with, I know I'm going to come with a dark colour here. So I want to almost make this. Beware of your edges as well. So I'm thinking if it follows that line, I like that shape. So I'm happy with that. So I've got my blue stencil brush, and this is the large one, the number 9, and again in the lid. Now this design would work well if you haven't obviously got these stamps yet. What about using other stamps? And just while you're waiting for your new stamps to arrive, just practice the design. Now, I'm always starting at this end. I want this end to be darker. So if I went straight in here, because I've got most ink on my brush, it will be quite dark, but I want this to fade away. So I'm just mindful of always starting at this end. And again, it's a gentle, gentle. And then as I've got less ink, I'm just gently, and I'm being mindful, I don't want to go over that edge. You know, if ever you've done that, and we all do it, and the first time you do it, you think, oh, dearie me. It's what we always say, isn't it? Dearie, dearie me. I'm not going to do that again. And the trouble is, it's if your mind's on something else, and sometimes I do think with crafting, we do let our mind wander, and it's good for the soul, but if your mind wanders too much, you forget what you're doing and go right over the edge. Let me have a look. Let's lift this up. I mean, I'm holding it this end. Oh, that's looking nice. So can you see? Just need a little bit darker up here. Just want to accentuate this a little bit here around this bee here. And a little bit darker here. But then I don't want to touch the light a bit because I think I might be happy with that. Tiny bit just in this corner. Don't want to overcook it, so I'm very gently. I'm just tickling that little bit there. And it's important, keep going back. Yes, I'm happy with that. Look at that. That's so pretty. Now, I'm not sure if I've got any ink left on my stencil there. So I've got an offcut here. So let's just take this. And then, sorry Eric, although he does love a good spritz. And let's just pop that on there. I'm not sure if we'll get anything. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. But if nothing else, it'll clean my stencil. But it might just give me a background that I can then stamp something else on top of, a starting point. But as I say, it will clean my stencil. Oh yes, we're getting something, look. Right, let's have a look. Oh, there we go. I'm glad we did that. Let's give that a dry. Look at that. Happy with that. Look how much came off there. You wouldn't think there was that much on, would you? And that'll be lovely. I reckon that'll go on a DL card, you know. In fact, I reckon I could even stamp. Yeah, I'll tell you what that's going to be. As soon as I finish, that's my next project. So what I want to do now is just add a little bit more stamping, and you may not have even noticed, look, I'm going to come in with the orchard grass just as a little bit of extra stamping, but it's quite tone on tone. Again, I want it to be quite subtle. I don't want it to be too much sort of in your face. So for this, I'm going to come in with the Arctic. This is a lovely light blue. And again, before you do this, always just have a check on your copy of paper, first, second generation. So first is quite bright. I like the second better. So what I'll do is I'll put the first down here. And then when it comes further up here, I'll go second. So it's paler. Because I'm going to add more deeper colour here. So I'm thinking first generation here. And then second and possibly third. Oh yes, I like third. So maybe another one here first, and then let's just go for a third. So you see how that just gets that nice wispy. Just a little one here. It will go. Definitely don't want first. So I'm thinking a little bit of second, a little bit of third. There we go. That's enough. Where's my lid gone? I love that colour though. So we'll give that a blot as well. I always like using second and third generation. I don't know about you. I just feel as though I'm using that ink up and I'm not wasting it by constantly re-inking. Makes me feel a bit thrifty. So I'm going to add some depth of colour here now. So what I'm going to do first is come in with violet chalk. Now again, you may not have noticed on the finished design, and what I love is these little bits that you don't particularly notice, but I think if they weren't there you'd notice. And here, look, this is the violet chalk. And it's just sort of, for me, it's a bridge between our lovely blue atoll here and the dark denim here. And I didn't want to go a mid-blue, so I sort of thought if I introduced the purpley colour of the violet chalk. So, again, I'm just going to turn it this way, and I'm always putting my ink in the lid just to blend it nicely. And then I'm just going to come in from the side. And again, I'm going to build this up, and I'm almost going over where our lovely flowers are to give that sort of purpley hue. Now, like I was saying, if I hadn't blotted that orchard grass, it could have smudged now. So for me, it's important to get used to that, doing the blotting. I just want this lovely hue around these flowers. So if I lift that there, can you see that? And it just gives that lovely, I don't want to do it too much, so I'm going to stop there. And then I'm going to come in with the dark denim. So for me, and for this one, I'm going to use a blending sponge just because I've got dark denim on my blending sponge and I haven't got a brush with dark denim on. And I'm a bit particular about my brushes, so, but you could use either. It's whichever sometimes, because I love using both, often it depends which applicator has got the colour on that I'm going to use. So I'm going to start in the middle, look, and then build up some nice colour in this corner. And then up to the top into this corner. In the lid again, very important. And then I don't want to come in too much, you see. And we'll maybe go a little bit down that flower. A bit deeper in that corner. Deeper in this corner. And then when I've got less ink, we'll just go to the edge. And then here, look, we'll just gradually come here. I don't want it to be too much. Now, if any little bits come, look at this, I've used this so much. Try and blow them off. Or I'm just going to use a bit of kitchen roll. Try not to use your hand because you're liable to get ink and you could get that on the white bit of the card. But I'm happy with that. I love that depth of colour here. So we'll just pop the lid on that. And I'm just going to, I've moved everything out of the way. What I've done, I did make the mistake once of putting my card that I was creating literally here while I spritzed my mat to clean this up. And of course, as you spritz, sometimes it splashes up, doesn't it? And it went all over my card. So now I put it sort of arm's length away. Again, it's amazing what you learn, isn't it? I mean, obviously, what I did was just added more little flicks of water and pretended they were supposed to be there, because that's what we do, isn't it? So let's add some colour now to these lovely flowers. So I'm just going to give myself some space. And I'm going to come in with my pencils. And I've got some colours here ready. And I've just got a good selection of blues. So I'll pop the numbers at the bottom, but just to give you an idea, so I've got, if I can do it, I've got 15, 8, 17, so we've got 15, 17, 18, 19 and 20. Oh, there we go. Wonder what was wrong with 16. I wonder why I didn't like the look of that. So I'm just going to rest on here. And I'm going to come in with a lovely dark. Now these would look lovely. We've got so many different colours. I mean, I seem to be going through a bit of a blue phase at the minute, only because I've noticed there's not many blues in my garden. I've got some blue lobelia, trailing blue lobelia, but most plants I've got are sort of oranges, pinks, yellows. Now the good thing is, with these flowers being in the dark, I don't need to add a lot of colour. Now again, I'm not a colourist, you know me, so I do this a bit of a cheats colouring. So I've used a dark blue at the centre of the flowers. And again, you will spend a lot longer. Do you know what? This will be beautiful to stamp a few of these and just have a lovely afternoon colouring in. But I know you don't want to just watch me colour in for the full afternoon. So I'm now going to come in with my light blue. Now my head may just come over. Again, if it does, I apologise. I know you don't really want to see the top of my head, but I just need to be able to see where I'm adding the colour. And I'm just blending the blue, this light blue, over the top of my dark blue and my mid blue. I tend to use it, I'm adding the lighter colour, but also I'm using it almost as a blender. And I'm not going quite right up to the edges because I'm going to watercolour these, so I don't need to be so specific right to the edges, because that'll happen when I move the pencil with the water. Now I'm actually going to use my clear Wink of Stella to do some wink of colouring, but obviously you could just use your water on the Lavinia watercolour brush and watercolour the flowers. Because I wanted the sparkle, I'm going to use my Wink of Stella to do the watercolouring and to add the sparkle in one foul swoop, one easy go. There we go. So I may just actually come back with this sort of, oh yes, I like that. Don't know, can you see the difference with adding this blue here? It just gives it a bit more oomph. So I'm just going to bring in a little bit just in the base here. I just think it gives it a bit more oomph. I'm going to leave that one because that one's in there. Yeah, happy with that. So I'm going to come in with my Wink of Stella now. And as I say, I'm just going to use this to blend. And I'm starting at the tip where it's light and then going to the dark and just dragging that colour out. And this blends the pencils beautifully, but also adds that gorgeous sparkle. Just get this one, beautiful. Look at that, look how it blends it. Just drag that dark colour just up the middle of the flower there. I love that. It's so magical the way this works. And as I say, the fact that you get the extra sparkle as well. The only thing is you will get a little bit of blue on the nib of your Wink of Stella. So I'm always mindful just to clean it when I've finished. If the flowers were different colours, I'd clean it between each flower. But obviously with them all being blue, just taking it from one flower to the next. And I'm just going to add a little bit of sparkle on these here. And then I'm actually just going to use, instead of a spare piece of card, look, I'm going to use the back of there. So it's a little bit blue, but there we go, goes back to clear. And so there we've got, I don't know if, obviously as it dries, you get more sparkle. So with the bumblebees, I'm going to decoupage them, but I do like to, on the wings, just add a little bit of colour. So just with my light, my number 15, I'm just going to add a little bit on the wings, look. Now, I need to double check that this is clean. Yes, And then I'm just going to drag that colour again, give that a bit of a clean. Lovely. I want to decoupage these. So what I tend to do, look, is on spare piece of card. And again, are you like me? Because I save every single spare piece of card I have. But you need to use them. I did go through a phase of saving every piece of card, but then not using them. So I do make an effort now to use them. So what I would do is stamp myself a couple of bees on there. Now, I've already stamped, like I say, stamped some out here, and I've cut some out. But I'll just give you a quick idea how I colour them. And again, it's just my very cheats way of colouring, very quick. So all I'm going to do is with the light blue, again, a little bit on the wing, look, and round the eye. And then I've got an orange, which is number 5, and then the yellow, number 4. And all I'm going to do is add, because I couldn't decide what sort of colour they were. And I thought orangey, yellowy sort of, but this helps, gives them a bit of shade. When I come in with the yellow, look, I colour down and over the orange. And like I say, for me, that just helps to blend it. So down and over. Now, I'm going to add some Wink of Stella to this, but I think you could actually leave them like that. You wouldn't even have to add water if you didn't want. But I'm going to, so I'll just do the beautiful wings, look. And what's nice is the Wink of Stella is clear at the end. We'll clean the blue off there, and then I'm just going to go on to the yellow and the orange. So quick. And then clean my brush on that spare bit of card there. Lovely. And there we've got a beautiful sparkling. Look at those. I just think they're fabulous. And again, you know, if you're struggling with Mr. Mojo, you could even sit and maybe stamp yourself some of these, colour them out, and then cut them out. And then you've got them ready. So here's my 1, 2, oh, I think we've flown away, 3. Now also what I want to do, before I glue them on, I just want to add a little bit of colour here. Where we've got the stems, I wasn't sure what to do, whether to leave it, whether to use a gel pen. And what I decided in the end was to use my metallic, the Signo Uniball metallic. And I've gone for the bronze because if you look at the finished version, I just thought it sort of echoed the oranges and yellows. So just going to turn this round, and I'm just going to add a little bit on each of these. Beautiful. And it's only when you start colouring them in, you see sort of where the stems go, all the beautiful lines. And again, you will just take your time. See, we've got one there, one there. And this is when you see the depth and the detail. I often think we don't see detail in stamps till we use them. I don't know about you, but I found that. It's only when I say go to colour something in or add some extra bits and I think, oh, look at all that detail. I've not noticed that before. See, I've missed one there. And I know you shout at me. I know you're telling me. That comes round there. Got a beautiful fronds there. And then also, the sentiment's got some gorgeous little dots around it. So I'm just going to go over the dots again, just to tie the whole design together. So, you know, we like that cohesive design. So this will just make it that lovely cohesive design. And now we can glue our beautiful, and for this, I'm going to use the silicone adhesive. Now, again, for me, I'm going to take my lid off, and then I just have, and again, we all have different tools, don't we, that we use. For me, I've got, just wiping my hand, I've got glue on my hand. I've got a lovely pokey tool, and I just grab the silicone on that. So I want the wings to be up a little bit, and I think I've got too much on there. I think that's enough for both of those. So we'll pop that one there. Pop his wing up. And that's why I wanted to colour the wings underneath. Now, if you wanted, you could even colour the beautiful bumblebee underneath. I often just colour around the edge in case you can see any. But today, I thought there was no need. Let me just... Because with there being a black outline, I think that's just going to sit perfectly. And the good thing is, look, you don't need to cut the antennae round. The way it's drawn is just beautiful. Now, I'm just going to pop my glue up before putting the lid on. And that's the bit you must always put that lid on. Make sure your glue's right up to the top. And then I just need to clean my pokey tool. Otherwise, I'm going to have sticky fingers. Oh, we've got a bit of our silicone glue on there. And I think that is so pretty. And as I say, I love the way, touch wood, we've got white here, dark here. So last thing, I'm going to add some white Posca splats. Now, you could always add yellow if you wanted. You know, I love the yellow sparkle Posca. I think that would bring in the yellow throughout the whole design. But I just want, I'm going to add white because I love the way it looks on the dark denim. So I'll give it a good shake. And let's see, oh yes, it's working. And I'm holding it quite close. I'm directing exactly where I want it, round here. And I just want a little bit over my bees and a little bit over here. Just heading off up to that corner. Right, don't overcook it, missus. And I'm just going to give, I've got a little bit of Posca there. Again, try and keep my table as clean as possible. Do you know, my beautiful mat, I don't know how it stays so clean. I do try and, I mean, obviously we've got some marks on it, but it's been going some years, this. And there we've got our beautiful finished design. Now, I think there are so many possibilities. I think you're going to love these new stamps. I've put all the ingredients are listed below this video. So you can always come back if you need to know colours, etc. There's the one we've created today. And there is the original. Unfortunately, I can't fit them both on because unless maybe I need to move the camera further away. This one I've matted and layered onto white and then onto a deep blue and onto white again. And I've actually added some of the white Posca onto the blue just because I love the way that, again, it gives it a continuation of that design. And I know you might be saying, Jo, I'm not going to make such a big card. But look, I think you could actually make this. If we say cut, right, sorry, don't take this personally. But if we cut him off there, you could put this on a 6x6 card. Couldn't you? You could make it. So you could just make a smaller version. Or you could even have the flowers up and our lovely bumblebees coming in this way. And even do it on an A6 card. So there are so many possibilities. I just couldn't resist. I just wanted to do larger with this because I love it so much. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and in fact the next few days. As always, we really appreciate you being here. I love being part of the Lavinia family, and I hope you do too. You take care. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.